What's going on, everybody? JR from JR's Cars here, and today we're going to be working on the Torrent again, so stay tuned. Alright everyone, so like I said, we're going to be working on the Torrent today. I have a couple things to do. I'm going to give a little bit of an update with it. I know that a couple people have questioned if the repair that I did for the EGR valve actually cleared up the error code that I had. And yes, it did. Most definitely. It passed inspection. So with that, in that video, I also mentioned that I've been noticing that there's an exhaust leak. I'm hearing an audible exhaust leak. And it's been getting worse as time goes on, as most exhaust leaks do. They start off really small, and then they start getting louder and louder. It's not loud like if it was past a catalytic converter, if it was a muffler, if it was a pipe or something like that. I did have that when I first bought the car. I had an issue where where just past the flex joint where it meets the back half of the exhaust there, one of the bolts had broken off, rusted off, so I had fixed that and repaired it, and it's been good since. But I did find where the problem is now, and it's not something that you would typically be looking at. So I'll show you what it is, and I'll show you what it is to repair it. So in that previous video, and if you want to check it out, you can check out the link up above here. I replaced the EGR valve. When I replaced the EGR valve, I looked at the EGR tube here, and it actually looked like it was in pretty good shape. Looking at the top of it, feeling around, everything seemed to be okay. The problem lied down here in the bottom. Now what I noticed was I was hearing the ticking, but I was hearing the ticking on this side of the engine. Now there's nothing on this side of the engine for the exhaust. The only thing is you have the exhaust manifold. You have the EGR tube on this side of this side of the motor. On this side of the motor is where you have that crossover pipe that joins the front and the rear banks, and then it goes out to the back of the car. So hearing exhaust on this side of the engine, that's the only thing it could have been. So what I did was I ran the car, and as I was running the car, you could hear it down here. All right, you could hear the ticking noise, right? Then when I put my hand down here, I could actually feel the air coming out. You could actually see it right there where the outer shielding looks like it's blown out. So what I ended up doing is this morning, just after breakfast, I ended up hitting this with the P-Blaster that I have, and I let it soak for a while. So now what I did was I warmed up the engine just a little bit, so this is a little bit warm. It's not bad, but it's a little bit warm. I'm going to take this all apart here. I'm going to take this tube out, and I'm going to replace it, and I'll show you what that looks like when it comes out. All right, so obviously the first thing we want to do is we want to take this beauty cover off. I'm going to take the EGR connector off first, put it off to the side. I'm going to pull this out of there. It just unscrews, and then the cover just pulls right off like that, right? So at this point, we're going to need our tools. We want to take this bolt out, and then the two bolts that I showed you down there before. So I'll take this one off, and then I'll get you down in there, and I'll show you what those two look like, and hopefully we can get this out without breaking those, because they are in the exhaust manifold. They're prone to rusting, obviously, because any of the oils that are on there from the heat of the exhaust bake off. And I've had luck and I've had bad luck before getting these things out. So hopefully these things don't break. We'll see what happens. All right, these bottom ones are the ones that concern me the most. Those ones are right in there. All right, so I've already checked this out, and the top one, even though it was a 10 millimeter, these bottom ones seem to be 3/8, and they're not rusted off. I mean, they're not rounded out. but the 3/8 fits on there a lot better than the 10 millimeter does. So being that we don't want to strip these out, you want to make sure that you put the socket on there that fits it the best. And honestly, you want to try to use at any point these 6-point, not the 12 points. 12 points have a habit of rounding off these bolts. The 6 points grab them a little bit better. So we'll get this out. Take that extension off of here. And let's see if we can get this out of here without cursing. Oh, it came right loose. All right. There's one. Now let's see if we can get the other one. Do we have 2 for 2? Yes, we do. Ooh, we got 2 for 2. Alright, let's get this out of there. Get this gasket off of here. I'll have to scrape that off there. But let me cut this off. You can actually see this here. You see where there's a hole in it right there. That's where part of the flex joint is. Inside this, there's a hole. There's a flex tube, and you can see right there. That's where the exhaust was leaking from, tapping away. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to get down there, and you want to get some just some emery cloth or sandpaper, something like that, and you want to clean up that mating surface really good, just to make sure that you don't have any dips or divots or anything like that on there. So when you put the new one on there, you're not going to get any exhaust leaks on that end too. And this is right off of the exhaust manifold, so you want to make sure that that's really, really clean. So here's our new unit, the new piece. There's the piece that's going to go down in the bottom. It's got a new gasket along with it. The piece that goes onto the top there with the EGR valve. All right, this one doesn't have a new screw along with it, but the bottom half does. So just reuse the top one, and that's fine. I'm going to reuse the top one because the top one was 10 millimeter, and these are also 10 millimeter too. So just to make sure that everything is the same, we're going to put that on there too. So let's get this in here. Make sure that everything gets in there straight. Now this, you may have the top portion of it, you may have to bend a little bit just to get it in there. See, it's a little bit high. This is where it is. This is where the EGR valve is. It is flexible, so you should be able to just take it, flex it in there, put it in, and then put that screw in. Top screw. And let's get to tightening these things down. So before I go and put all the beauty covers and everything else back on there, I want to plug this back in. We'll start it up. We'll see what it sounds like, and then we'll put everything back together. So I don't hear, and I definitely don't feel any kind of air coming out of it, so it sounds good. I'm going to take the covers, put the covers back on, and call this a wrap. Alright everyone, so the beauty covers are back on, and as you saw, it was fairly easy to actually get that EGR tube off. I was pleasantly surprised because honestly, whenever I work with exhaust, especially up here, we live in the Northeast, and to tag on to that, I live close to the ocean too, so I'm getting a double whammy here. We deal with rust. It's just part of the way of the world. That's what we have to live with in the Northeast here. So I was, like I said, I was pleasantly surprised that this actually did come out well, that I didn't break off a bolt inside the manifold, because that would have just been a disaster. And I'm happy that I don't have this exhaust leak anymore. It's great. I've been dealing with it. It's been progressively getting worse. So there's a little bit more that I have to do to this car. I know I've said in previous videos that I have a whole front end suspension rebuild that I did. I already did the struts, and if you want, you can check out the video up top there too. That shows what you have to do with the struts on these, the Pontiac Torrents, the Chevy Equinoxes, and the Saturn Views. I'm definitely going to end up doing the full front end rebuild. I have control arms, I have inner and outer tie rods, I have the sway arm end links that I have to put in there too. So that's going to be one of my next videos that are coming out. And also I'm still trying to find something to work on. Hopefully I'm going to be able to find something. I did find something, but unfortunately by the time I got to it, it was already sold, and it would have been a really good car for my daughter. It would have been a really nice car for her, but you know, que sera, that's the way that things go. So what are you gonna do, right? So do me a favor, if you like this kind of content, you want to see a little bit more of it, give me a big thumbs up, right? Share it with your friends, share it with your family. Hopefully somebody will get some use out of these videos too. I like to create these videos for you guys, not just for me, but for you. I know I've used it before too, where I've looked up issues with my car, and YouTube is a great resource for it too. So like I said, give me a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.